Welcome back to our Inside the Issues special hour. Almost 700 years ago, the Black Death, the bubonic plague, killed about a third of the entire population of Europe. The disease behind that, again, was bubonic plague, and it came, we think, from rats. Fortunately, the plague is almost unheard of in modern times, but now it could be coming back. Where? Well, to the city of Los Angeles. Why? Massive homeless encampments there are so filthy that they have brought rats, rats have brought fleas, and those fleas carry bubonic plague. Now the city is at a tipping point. 1.5% of the rats in Los Angeles are now believed to be carrying the plague. If that figure hits 2%, it will start jumping to humans. Dr. Mark Siegel is Fox's medical expert and a frequent guest on our show. We're glad to have him back tonight.
Hi,
Doctor, this sounds like an imminent threat.
I think it is an imminent threat. You already mentioned that rats are carrying the fleas. The fleas are on the rats, and the fleas are carrying a bacteria called Y. pestis that causes the bubonic plague. And the problem is that rats are all over the place in Los Angeles, and garbage is all over the place, and the rats are eating the garbage, and even if they bring garbage trucks to take away the garbage, more garbage is formed, and then also human waste. And the rats are proliferating, the fleas are proliferating. We're going to start seeing bubonic plague. Now, we can treat it with antibiotics, which we couldn't do in the Middle Ages, but you'd have to first know somebody has it, and you'd have to first be able to get the antibiotics to them, which is the point I've been making, which is as long as 60,000 people are living on the streets of Los Angeles, we can't treat their mental health issues, we can't treat their drug addiction, we can't treat their illnesses, their infections, we can't treat typhus, and we certainly cannot treat the plague.
So that's kind of the point. I mean, the reason we haven't had the bubonic plague really since the Middle Ages is because we have modern sanitary standards. And now we don't. So it's not hard, right, to create a society where there aren't so many rats that you get the plague, is it?
That is so true, Tucker, and I have to emphasize your point. We cleaned up the plague even before antibiotics because of public health. Here we are back in Middle Ages type situation, and let me tell you how we can fix that. I worked in the Bellevue emergency room in the 80s and the 90s, and you know what we did? We used to have a diagnosis, found on street, living in cardboard box, came in for 3 squares and a blanket. These patients came in with infections. They were dehydrated. They were malnourished. What we do, we built shelters in New York. Now, New York, of course, is another Democratic stronghold, but 2 Republican mayors were behind the expansion of shelters. 95% of the homeless in New York are now living in shelters, and we don't see the same kind of diseases. Wake up, Los Angeles. You have a Democratic mayor that's waving his hands, saying, here's another garbage truck. Here's a shower I'm sending out to one of these streets. We need to get the homeless off the streets, or we're never going to be able to treat these problems, and they're going to burgeon in neighborhoods really next to them.
It's absolutely horrifying, and it gives you a sense of how tenuous our hold on society and modernity is. Dr. Siegel, thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Tucker.